All right, we are going to work on breaking down prompt number 3, which focuses on sacrifice. So let's read the prompt. It's always the same, right? An individual's values can be determined by what they sacrifice. Consider how this statement applies to a character from Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. Select a character that has deliberately sacrificed, surrendered, or forfeited something in a way that highlights that character's values. Then write a well-organized essay in which okay, that should probably be gone. Explain the sacrifice and analyze how it illuminates the character's values and provides a deeper understanding of a theme of the play related to the author's beliefs about personal values. Okay, well, you know that this is going to irritate me, so let's just delete this. Explain the character sacrifice and analyze how it illuminates the character's values, provides a deeper understanding of the theme of the play related to the author's beliefs about personal values and how they relate to like sacrifice, and are they good values, are they bad values, what is he saying? So prompts 1 and 2, for both of them, I've said there's kind of like 2 parts to each of these prompts, and you can almost divide them in half. For this one, there's still 2 parts to the prompt, but the first part is very short. So they give you this phrase here. So an individual's values can be determined by what they sacrifice. So I am going to be willing to give something up because what I'm getting is of worth to me. So we're going to examine those things. So we're going to consider how that statement there applies to a character from Romeo and Juliet. So you pick who you want. Someone who's sacrificed, surrendered, or forfeited. So this is the thing that we're first going to do is we're going to select. There's a verb there. Okay, so that's the first thing we're going to do. And then we're going to explain the sacrifice. This is the evidence that the prompt wants us to focus on. And then we're going to analyze how it illuminates the values. So here's what they sacrificed, and here is what it tells us about what they value. So the first thing I think I would do is I would start with the selection. So let's talk about some characters that you could select from. These are going to be in kind of a random order, but Mercutio sacrifices his life to prove that Romeo is not a coward, to keep his Romeo's good name. Mercutio responds to Tybalt's challenge by shooting him in the streets. Tybalt kills him, right? And obviously you're confident, or Mercutio is confident as a fighter, like as a swordsman. But the reality is that when you enter into a fight like that, he even says that he knows Tybalt is good with sword play and is a good fighter. So he knows there is some risk that he is going to sacrifice his own life. And he chooses to make that risk because the idea of Romeo acting, submissive to Tybalt is so disgusting to Mercutio. He can't stand the idea that he would do that. So this I'm referring to is in Act 3, Scene 1. Another sacrifice that is made here is, like I said, weird order, but Lord Capulet sacrifices his relationship with his daughter to move forward with a wedding match that will help him socially. So they see Lord Capulet and Juliet seem to be somewhat close in the beginning. He talks about that she's like the lovely lady of his earth in Act One. And then tells Paris that he is not interested in marrying her off this young. And then fast forward to Act Three, after his family has suffered the loss of Tybalt, he agrees to marry he agrees that Juliet will marry Paris and doubles down on that agreement, even though when the idea is presented to his daughter, she's very, very unhappy about it and tries to speak with him about it. He basically gives her an ultimatum and gives her no other choice but to accept doing things the way that he wants to do. So he asserts his dominance over her with fear. And in doing that, he sacrifices this relationship that they have together, this closeness, which, I mean, I'll defend. I don't have to, but I'll defend that in saying that she basically, she never sees her father again after that. I mean, I know we're moving into Act 4 and we'll see how all that goes down, but it basically, cuts her away from her family and makes her seek out Friar Lawrence in desperation as the last person that will help her get what she wants. So let's do Act 3, Scene 5. So the value here is the social standing and the way that the marriage will impact his family, valued more highly than the relationship and like respect between him and his daughter. Similarly, I mean, this is kind of the same argument, but the nurse sacrifices her very close motherly relationship with Juliet when she decides to advise Juliet to go along with the marriage her family has arranged. So, what does she sacrifice here? Her relationship. Why? Because she values the Capulet family setting up the future that they want for Juliet. And the nurse is willing to sacrifice what she hasn't been willing to before, which has been the fact that Juliet and the nurse they have the closest relationship, far closer than her real mother. And in prior to Act 3, Scene 5, which is when the nurse finally says, like, I think you should just marry Paris. Romeo is a dishclout to him. That in that advice, she sacrifices Juliet feeling like she's someone that she can trust, right? Because she doesn't trust her after she advises against being faithful to her husband. So, okay, what have we done here? So the yellow part tells us to select characters. So this would be a list of characters. And then here are attempts to explain sacrifices. Okay, so I think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna do green. And then I think I'm gonna pop in here and tab in with this blue, and then analyze how it illuminates the character's value. So Mercutio values honor and I never know, like, what do I want to say? It's like something about, because he's in like a public place and Tybalt is like formally challenging him to a duel by sending the letter. So this would have been like a very like it's very like official. And if you don't like respond to it like with honor and act like you're the man in your family that you're supposed to be, then it can bring shame to the way that people think about your family. So Mercutio values honor and an individual's responsibility to uphold and defend their family's honor. I don't know. Is it no? Because you know what? I'm gonna take that back because I do not think it's the family's honor. I think it's personal value. So Mercutio values an individual's responsibility to uphold and defend their personal honor, particularly in public. Okay, so, and then let me come down here, tab in, let's go to blue. What does Lord Capulet value? Lord Capulet values his family's social status and advancement over. Okay, this is just a statement about the value. And then nurse sacrifice very close to. Okay, so the nurse values helping Juliet fulfill her family's wishes for her future. She values what is easiest for Juliet with the least amount of conflict with her family. There are other characters that you could argue here. I mean, one common one is Friar Lawrence. People always argue that he sacrifices like his name and ultimately his life should anybody find out that he decided to marry these two in secret. The issue with that is when you come to the end of that argument, he confesses about what he's done and he doesn't ultimately need to sacrifice his life and he ultimately doesn't sacrifice anything like except for Juliet and Romeo, who are two youth that he cares about. Other than that, I mean, I don't mean to like push that to the side, but their deaths are a sacrifice that is he doesn't make it, but it just happens, right? Like they lose their lives as a consequence. But he ultimately gets what he wants, which is the feud between the families to end. So I am very sure that there is something there in terms of developing that into an essay. All right, I hope this video was helpful if you are choosing to do this topic. Good luck.